1. All right.
Do it.
Do it. Okay, so I found some stuff that infuriated me. Let's start with this Twitter video that started it all. All right.
So it was another mean tweet.
No, it wasn't.
Transgender boy, you know what that means?
Hang on. All right, you need the full context.
Yeah.
So this parent right here, because I call them a parent because I'm not sure what they are. They are explaining to their kid what gender they are. So let's watch.
So you are a transgender boy, you know what that means?
So you were born a girl, but you feel like a boy, right? That kind of means you're transgender. Okay? And that's okay, but that's just the term for it. Do you like doing quiet girly activities, or do you like jumping around and being crazy and tackling everybody?
What?
Boy activities.
So you are
So that's what started it all. These fucking parents are doing child abuse. And if you look in the comments, like pretty much everyone agrees with it. Like 100%, absolutely poor kid, horrible, wrong on so many levels. A circle jerk of the same opinions. So I saw this and I went down the rabbit hole and I realized, okay, well, what else is going on with kids? It's been a while since I touched the transgendered issue, because I made a video a while back on the topic of I Am Jazz, the TLC show about this transgendered girl that got surgery when she was 18. But before that, she was on hormone blocking pills. So here I find on YouTube transgendered kid programming. This is on the YouTube Kids. Look, try YouTube Kids. I'm not making this up. T is for trans.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay, and this is my best friend Teddy. Today, we're talking about the T in LGBT.
What? Yo, what is this, bro?
This is transgendered programming. Gay means happy. Come on, Andrew. Queer kid stuff.
I'm not on the train.
You're not on the train. Come on, man. It's queer kid stuff.
Welcome to the final part of our 4-part series.
Oh,
breaking
God,
down
this
the
is a
letters
4-part
in
series?
LGBT.
What
You
the
ready,
heck?
Teddy?
Ready.
Okay. Today,
That's
we are talking about the 4th
Bro.
letter, T. T stands for trans or
Why isn't this-
transgender.
Yeah, go ahead. Why is the teddy bear talking?
No, why isn't this freaking? Why didn't YouTube take this down, bro?
Oh, no, because they're all with it. Look, comments are turned off to protect the kids.
No, but that's not what because the comment section is good. The video is the thing that they're supposed to be protecting the kids from.
Right.
Like, they don't even show the likes or dislikes, because I bet it's mostly dislikes.
I'm going to not give my opinions until the end.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So you
that's
just want
a
to quietly
cool...
watch it then,
I just want to... No.
or you want to talk over it?
We can commentate on it, but
Okay.
I don't want to, like... What's the word?
yeah.
I don't want to be, like, conclusive yet, you know?
Okay. Yeah, let's.
Cool new word.
Definitely, Teddy. Let's get into it.
Oh, God.
Do you have any siblings, Teddy?
Yes. I have a little baby bear brother.
And I have a little sister. Do you remember when your little baby bear brother was born?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Do you remember
What a
the very
perverted looking
first
bear,
thing you
bro.
learned about the new baby
What,
bear?
like
bear.
Pedo Bear?
Yeah, that bear looks. That bear looks worse than Pedo Bear. Bro, look at the eye placement.
Oh,
It's got,
God.
like-
It's not even like a Muppet. It's just like... It's just laying back.
Your life?
Just the eyes. Or,
That he
Look-
cried a
look
lot?
yeah.
No, Teddy.
Nightmare
You
fuel.
probably learned that your little baby bear brother was your little baby bear brother. That your new sibling was a boy.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely it.
That's the very first thing doctors tell you when a new baby is born, whether they're human or bear. They tell parents that their baby is a boy or a girl. That's
Agree.
called a gender assignment. When doctors
Oh, God, she's reading off a prompter, too. She can't even fucking go off her own, like, brain with this stuff? Come on. Why do you need to script this? Just go off the dome.
announce that babies are boys and girls.
But now I'm confused. When we
What?
talked about
He's confused.
gender,
How are you
we said that
confused?
there aren't just boys and girls.
You have a really great memory, Teddy. You're
What
right.
the-
There's something a bit weird about how doctors assign gender to babies. That's because there aren't only boys and girls. And because not all
Wow, huh? Excuse? Excuse me? Excuse me? Hang on, we need a... What?
people identify with their assigned gender.
Oh, so the doctors are wrong sometimes?
Yes, Teddy. Sometimes
The doctors are
don't
wrong?
assign the right genders. When a person does not identify with the gender they're assigned when they're born, they are
So there's-
trans or
They're saying
transgender.
a newborn baby. They're saying a newborn baby is gonna identify out of the womb. Yeah, I'm not.
Excuse me.
I'm not a boy.
People who are trans can be boys
Or
or
girls.
girls or people too.
And I can
What are the-
always ask
What
someone-
are they? Explain!
What? Yeah, what are they gonna be? Girl?
Explain!
No,
when
I'm not a
they're
boy,
pronouns,
girl.
just
I'm a
like you
potato.
taught me.
I'm a fork.
I'm a potato, bro.
That's right, Teddy. There's
Sport.
also another word you should know. It's the word cisgender.
Oh, God.
Someone who is cisgender does identify with the gender they're assigned.
No, God!
So since you were assigned girl and you use she, then you are cisgender.
That is exactly right, Teddy.
Lindsay, I'm really good at this gender stuff now.
Okay, so now we want to know how you identify. You can let us know in the comments below.
Okay.
Thank
Let's go down to the comments and let them know.
Oh, wait. Oh.
So long, gay boys!
So long, gay boy. Are we gonna finish this, or are we?
I think that's it.
so much for watching season 1 of Queer Kids
Oh,
Stuff.
God, there's more
We
seasons?
really
Season
appreciate
one,
you watching,
no.
and we hope you enjoyed learning about everything LGBT, gay, feminist, all of those fun things we've been talking about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for updates about season 2.
Nope, no one's checking out those updates. All right, let's keep going down the rabbit hole. So, I trust me, I went down the rabbit hole.
I think I can see your beard. I see.
You can see my beard? Oh no!
What
Kids,
the-
meet a drag queen.
Yuck.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Nico.
Miko? I'm Isabella.
Bro,
What's your
look at
name?
Kristen.
Kristen? Nice to meet you. I'm Isabella. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
What's wrong, dude? You seem a little uneasy.
Yeah, this is making me uncomfortable, man. We got this man dressed as a woman talking to children.
Good job.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
How come? Do I look scary?
Dude, you are freaking
You know what I
scary,
am?
man.
No. I'm
The
a
kids
drag
are
queen.
praying.
The kids don't know what he is.
Have you ever heard of a drag queen before? No?
What is a drag
Bruh.
queen?
A drag queen is someone who expresses themselves creatively through performance.
How much?
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
So how much do you want to bet that if we look at this guy's house, there's gonna be a red dot on it?
That one flew over my head.
Okay, well they put red dots for whenever there's a child predator on the.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shut up before I molest you, all right?
dress up in
There's a red
wild
dot.
costumes.
The red dot on
Excuse
that
me.
dress, man.
Get your fat ass back here.
Big wigs, crazy makeup, and
That's a
then
good
get
one.
on stage and perform and entertain people.
Can we talk about this kid who already has rainbow-colored hair? Like, we already know whose parents that guy has.
That's no.
Or girl. Or something.
Hopefully. Oh.
And I know why you're speaking like that.
Like what?
Like, you look like you would speak in a different way,
Yeah?
but now you're
How tall do you
speaking-
think this man is?
So now
He's like
I know
he's at least
when-
like 6 foot.
I'm a boy. You're right. I'm a boy.
Yeah, these drag queens are usually huge.
I'm a boy.
Yeah, that's right. Make fun of that.
You didn't think I was a boy?
Make fun of that.
You thought I was a girl?
I've been thinking
No, I'm a
you're
boy. How do you feel about that?
A little bit weirded out, but like a little interesting.
Interesting? It's a lot to think about.
Do you always dress up as a girl?
Not always, only when I'm performing. I usually live most of my life in jeans and a t-shirt and a backwards ball cap.
Yeah, that's usually how it is. But maybe not in front of kids. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing that's been going on. Like, if we go down the rabbit hole even further, I can show you drag queen school. Watch this. This right here.
Dylan, the school in Adams County welcomed the man dressed as a woman as part of Career Day.
Jim and Karen, they wanted to make one thing very clear. The district accepts anyone, no matter what they choose to wear on any given day. But they did want to make an apology to the parents here at the school for not notifying them about that drag queen's visit ahead of time. Giggles from students at Rocky Top Middle School echoed through the halls of the building last Friday as a drag queen made her way through. Video posted online shows the reactions of 6th through 8th graders. A relative of a student, drag queen Jessica Lahore, volunteered to speak.
Oh, it's take your uncle to
be
school day.
controversial because that was something I would never expect to be allowed, like when I was growing up in middle
Oh,
school.
God.
And at the same time, I took it as an opportunity because I got to talk to a bunch of kids and kind of open up a new door for conversation.
District spokesperson Joe Ferdani.
The school's focus is to have an event that is representative of the diverse backgrounds and careers within their community.
Jessica has performed at schools like CSU, but this time the district says he read from a book.
Every class had one person ask me about how to handle with negativity, bullying.
The district apologized for not notifying parents.
We're sorry. We're sorry we brought a drag queen without notifying you. Looks like you're going to have that talk with your kid on your own. So there's that. There's this one of the fucking drag queen reading the book to the kids.
Books about
Here we go. Here we go. Let me just skip through this. Yep. Yep, there we go.
Oh yeah, dude. I've seen that picture before.
Let's see if we got a video footage. No, we don't. It's just this right here.
Libraries
this
invite
freaking
drag
demon.
queens.
It's a demon
Some
with the
dress
horns,
like
bro.
torn demons to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist
Blood.
agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this, and parents are waking up and saying no.
When asked,
Yep. So it's a thing, you know. It happens a lot. The thing about drag queens though is that drag queens used to be funny, you know. Like you would go to these events.
No, I don't remember that.
You would go to these events and like the drag queens will like roast. Let me see if I can find some like old footage. Drag queen, 1999, something like that. They just like roast the crowd. Like they're really mean. They'll like eviscerate people in the crowd and stuff like that. They'll like make fun and like jokes. Let me see, roasting crowd, something like that. I'm not gonna find that, but if I had it on cue, I would have showed you. But like they're really mean. They're like they say whatever they want. They have no filters. The whole thing is like you get up on there and you look absurd, but like on purpose. And then you're like this woman-looking guy. You're this woman-looking guy, and you'll like just fucking look. I guess this one.
That's what applause sounds like. Phoebe O'Hare was known for her cosplay. If I were you, I would pretend to be other people too. She is a fucking bitch. To keep her in line, we have hid Alyssa Edwards behind every mirror backstage.
Right? They're like they're not the nicest people. And here you have like a drag queen fucking talking to children, being like, "Do you have questions for me?" And it's like it's out of character. And that's one of the things that like really deterred me from the whole experience. Oh shit. I got some more stuff if you want to watch.
Okay.
Let's see.
This is Ari, Gwendolyn, and Brinifer. They are in a polyamorous relationship, and they all parent Hazel and Sparrow.
We have a 2-year-old antigender baby and a 10-year-old.
What the fuck is antigender?
That's the first time I've heard an antigender baby.
What the fuck?
How?
Belongs in the trash!
Who is non-binary.
They have chosen not to disclose Sparrow's gender.
We don't know it yet. It's something that Sparrow's gonna have to figure out and then tell us.
You definitely know it. You definitely know. They told you as soon as the fucking kid got, came out of your vagina or whatever.
They told them in the freaking ultrasound. Yeah, it's a boy. It has a penis, or it doesn't have one.
A few inches later.
Though I do choose to act and look more feminine. Can I go down now?
So that's a boy, I think?
And 2.5-year-old Sparrow has yet to make a choice.
Sparrow.
Sparrow, do you want a banana?
That's a bird's name.
They're antigender, but we're using they, them pronouns.
Can we talk about these two man things right here? Like, she's married to both. So not only is she polyamory in her fucking relation. Look, I'm not telling anyone how to live. Okay. I just think it's weird. All right. You're raising your kid with 3 moms? Or 2 dads?
2 dads and 1 mom.
Or 3 moms? I'm not sure what the dynamic is here.
Or 3 dads, or 3. I don't know.
I don't ever want to see it again!
Pronouns. Sure, they have anatomy, we understand it, but that's not indicative of their identity.
No, it's hilarious. She's talking about anatomy and she's holding a banana.
I just noticed.
How did the fucking producers not catch that shit?
Look at that.
It's something that Sparrow's gonna have to figure out and then tell us before we can tell anyone else.
Particularly because it's, something that our parents did and they got it wrong.
But giving Sparrow
Did they really?
the choice has proved controversial.
Online, there's a lot of angry people. I have literally received death threats. The worst.
That's not cool. That's not cool either. It's just like, we should call this stuff out because it's becoming the norm. And that's scary. Because,
yeah, it is, man.
This stuff is for the fringe, right? It's for the part of society no one really talks about.
Yeah.
But
it shouldn't be normalized to where it's people want to make their own thing. I see it as people shouldn't be running away from themselves and who they are.
Right. And
I kind of been more of an advocate of accept who you are. I'm a short guy, right? And it took me a while to finally feel I'm okay with my height. I'm glad I'm short now, and yeah, there's just some people that I feel bad for because they don't feel comfortable as themselves, so they make these new they say stuff they say that they're stuff that they're not.
Yeah, and the problem with that is people who live like that tend to be usually the most angriest and fucked up people in society that tend to do really messed up stuff because they're not happy with who they are. Yeah. And that's not cool either. I struggle to understand why we're pushing this on kids. I understand that adults can do whatever the hell they want, 18 plus, whatever. But I don't understand why kids have to be involved with this. And some people would argue, but they're, if they're transgender and they're saying they're a girl, at an early age, why should you, stop them from being a girl? And it's no. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not why we're talking. This isn't what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about right here. Check this out.
If you know me, then you know I'm absolutely fascinated by the growing trans trend out there in the world. So this story really caught my eye. Just listen to this. Recently, the United Kingdom Supreme Court issued a ruling that children under the age of 16 are unlikely to be able to give informed consent concerning puberty blockers. The ruling came down in a case involving biologically female Kira Bell, who sued the National Health Service's Gender Identity Development Service for Children and Adolescents,
Huh?
a real government agency, over receiving puberty blockers when she was just 16. She now regrets transitioning and feels like she was way too young to make that decision, and someone should have protected her from her adolescent self.
And that's the problem that I have. The fact that parents will allow their kids to go on these puberty blockers.
Yeah, I mean, I bet we all can go back to when we were kids and look at something that we thought of that we don't agree with that we do today, because we were like naive, right?
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an FBI agent. You know? And now I hate the FBI.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but all right, let me sort of twist that a bit. Imagine if we lived in a society where your parents had to decide what you were gonna be, and then they were like, "All right, you want to be an FBI agent? All right, well, that's what you're gonna be for the rest of your life." And then you grow up and you're like, "Wow, I hate the FBI. Why did my parents let me decide this when I was 5?"
Exactly right. Or like that. At an early age, you'd have to be put in this concentration camp to become an FBI agent, and there's no getting out of it, right? And nothing you do will ever reverse you from being like a normal person again. That's the problem that I have with this, and that's why I made a video on I Am Jazz, the TLC series, because she got on puberty blockers when she was 8 years old.
So, after the ruling came down, many trans activists were angry. Case in point, Zinnia Jones, who took to Twitter to bitch about the ruling, saying, "If children can't consent to puberty blockers, which pause any permanent changes, even with the relevant professional evaluation, how can they consent to the permanent and irreversible changes that come with their own puberty, with no professional evaluation whatsoever?"
Oh, that's a good point. You know what? That's actually a good point. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, she made a good point there. So, like, if you're growing up to be a woman and you got tits, you know, and you got a fat ass, and, you know, you have all these defining traits that a woman would have, at that point when you're 18, it's really hard to take your tits off and shrink your ass and make yourself look like a guy. That's the argument that they're making. I can see that argument.
Okay, but I mean, like I said again, I mean, you're like running away from what you are. So
not just that, but it's at that point you're 18. You can choose what you want for yourself, and you're mature enough to do so. You're able to go to war. You're able to smoke cigarettes. You know, you can choose for yourself. The problem is when you're living under your parents' guidance when they make that decision. It might be harder to do it when you're 18, sure, but then again, shouldn't it be better safe than sorry? You know, it's a tough argument there.
Got that? She's saying if you can't consent to changing your biological gender, then you can't consent to regular puberty either. And then she tweeted this doozy: "An inability to offer informed consent or understand the long-term consequences is actually an argument for putting every single cis and trans person on puberty blockers until they acquire that ability."
Ooh, that's a spicy tweet. So she's saying because you're not sure about what gender you want to fall into, maybe you should just be on puberty blockers till you're 18 and then make the decision on what gender you want to be. What happens? What happens to? Yeah, go ahead.
Because at that point it would be too late. Like, because I think at a certain age, the body will like stop producing that hormone that you should have gotten when you were sort of like rapidly growing. So
here I have the video for you that answers these questions. It's such a complicated issue for an individual.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but the reality is that it is, and to put them on puberty blockers at an early age just complicates the thing even more. Like this man lady thinks, I think she's like 18, maybe 20. And look how complicated it is for her, and she just started. He just started, whatever. It's just such a complicated issue, and I just feel like pushing it onto kids every chance that you can get is just making kids confused at a certain point, and it's almost like incentivizing kids to want to transition, because if they don't, they're like weird or they're left out. It's almost like we're making straight kids the outcast at this point. You know? There's more I got. Let's see. This is another argument on why kids should have hormone blockers.
My hair is a mess. I feel like I look like a little rat in this t-shirt because it kind of is a bit big for me. I'm meant to be at school right now, but I walked out because I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. No child should have to do that. So today, I'm having a little bit of a rant and a discussion. It's not really a discussion if it's just with myself, but about why young children should be allowed to take hormone blockers, because this is something me personally I'm passionate about. I don't have many facts on this subject, and
All right. Do you want to hear it out? Looks like he changes back into a boy.
rushed, and I didn't really get a lot of points down. I'm not a doctor. I'm not.
Thank you for giving me the disclaimer that you're not a doctor. I appreciate that.
Google either. I don't really know all the definitions and everything, and all the side effects and all the everything.
Right.
I just had a couple thoughts
Uh-huh.
from when I.
You're just
came
going
out
off of
school.
feels, kind of like the GameStop people who are fucking just betting on random stocks, right? You're just going off of the feels.
That day, and I thought I'd just share them. I'm not a doctor. I'm not Google. So if I do make any wrong points, I am sorry. Educate me in the comments down below.
The comments are turned off.
I am an expert on it.
Is this a re-uploaded video?
I have no idea.
I don't know if that's the original uploader.
He's got an Instagram. I don't wanna dox her. Him. It.
2 days on forward. 2 days after, I have a hat on. I change my clothes. Well, that's something.
Can you get into it?
Of puberty. You can take them when you're like halfway through or whatever, but it doesn't have the same effect as much. There's not as much point basically. So hormone blockers, they stop a child's puberty from happening whether you are FTM, whether you are male, female, or whatever.
My question is, if you're stopping a 13-year-old's puberty when they're 21, does their puberty just restart?
No, because what hormones does, from what I know, is that it makes look, whenever girls and boys are young, right? Let's say like about 8, they both kind of have the same like body structure. I know this because I draw a lot, and whenever you draw children, they have the same like basic anatomy. So, but the thing is, what hormones does is it tells your body to grow in a certain way, to where women get bigger hips.
Right, for childbearing.
Yeah, for childbearing, and men get their
Bigger
male-
penis.
Yeah, male hormones.
They get bigger penis for
Yep.
for
Well,
fucking.
They get more. I think it's easier to get muscles. We. Yeah. yeah, and we don't get the big hips. It's just like broader shoulders, of course. Larger muscles.
But my thing is, like, if you stop the puberty process at 13, they're not gonna grow when they're 21. Like, they're not gonna grow into their. Like, the reason why girls' hips get wider is so they could bear children. So when you're 21, your hips aren't gonna get wider, and so you're not gonna be able to bear children. And if you do, it's gonna be C-section.
Yeah. that's yeah, I don't think so, because
Girls with small hips have children all the time. Is that your point?
no, I was saying I don't think your bone structure can change after it's been fused.
Right. So you're agreeing with me.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joe Rogan, the famous Joe Rogan, had this lady who specializes in teenage girls transitioning and how it's becoming a thing in school. Well, I'll just let her explain.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Irreversible damage, the transgender craze seducing our daughters. Boy, that's a hot button subject. Right? This is a minefield.
It shouldn't be, though.
No?
It really shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be, but
it is.
So I think we should probably establish some things like up front, right? Some people surely, as adults, are transgender.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. I interviewed a lot of them.
And we fully support that.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
I support
have friends who fall into that category.
Your concern is about very young children.
That teenage girls has nothing to do with adults who are transgender. Okay, many of whom are amazing people. They, went through mental health, therapy, and they made this decision. They suffered with discomfort in their bodies from the time they were young. And as adults, they made a decision to transition. Fully support them. Has nothing to do with my book.
What was the motivation to write this book? And if it's about teenagers, why is there a very young girl on the cover?
Well,
this is like the cover. It looks like a
little girl,
4-year-old.
Right. It does. I mean, obviously I didn't do the cover, but I think the cover is very good because I think it's supposed to evoke what we've lost in a whole generation. Well, yeah.
What is that?
I assume her uterus.
Oh, it's just
infertility
crazy.
is
looks
what's
like a pillow.
Yeah.
Oh, infertility.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, I got involved in this. This wasn't a personal issue for me. In fact, it was an issue originally I thought I was going to avoid. A reader wrote to me. I write most often for the Wall Street Journal, and a reader wrote to me, and she said, listen, I've tried to get every mainstream journalist to pick this up. No one will touch it, but my daughter got caught up in this. All of a sudden, she went off to college. All of a sudden, with her friends, she had a lot of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and all of a sudden, with her group of friends, they all decided they're trans, and she went on hormones, and this is happening to parents all across the country. Teenage girls all of a sudden deciding with their friends that they're trans, wanting surgeries and hormones and getting them. And at first I thought, I don't need this. And so I tried to get another journalist to take it up, a real investigative
Comment
reporter.
section's turned off.
I'm an opinion journalist usually. That's what I've done. And I couldn't get someone to take it up.
Because it's such a minefield. Because
it's a minefield. Because for some reason the activists who are not representative of transgender adults that I've met at all, but the activists had convinced the world that because, they object to anyone's transition being questioned, we can't talk about a mental health issue facing teenage girls.
Now, I've heard there's an issue with some teenage girls who are on the spectrum who wind up getting sort of roped into this idea
Autism.
that that's what's wrong with them. Is that one of the things you cover in your book?
Yeah, I actually don't deal with that specifically very much. And the reason is that's a whole book in and of itself. Because a lot of it is true that a lot of girls who are high-functioning autistic, and I did interview some experts in autism, and that's when I realized that's a book of its own, which is that a lot of girls who are high-functioning autistic, they tend to fixate. And they are particularly susceptible to fixating on the idea that they might be a boy when it's introduced to them.
Okay, so basically what she's pointing out here is that a lot of the people who are doing this at an early age have a mental issue. And that's a bad combination for a person to make a decision that's going to impact the rest of their life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure long ago this was seen as a mental issue. They got help for it.
That's because it wasn't understood, right? Like you're talking about back in like the 1800s, right? Or back in like the early 1900s?
Probably like 1950s.
1950s. They used to put people like this in a psych ward.
Yeah, because they needed help, and they pretty sure. I mean, like she said, mental issues happening that can lead to something that you can't change.
Yeah, it's
irreversible.
It's
I'm kind of retarded.
All right, Alex, relax.
Alex.
So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
We
They,
know,
they
Alex,
are
we
one
know.
part of this phenomenon, but they're a big part.
So the teenage girl part. So this you're talking about teenage girls that are susceptible to influence. Or are you talking about teenage girls that are confused? Like why are there so many teenage girls that are going in this direction? Like what do you think is happening?
So these are the same girls that would have been anorexic, they would have been bulimic, and they are high anxiety, very precocious girls, but they don't really fit in. They come to high school and they don't have friends, they don't have a clique for them. And they're so smart and they're so lonely because they're on the internet all the time and they're with mom all the time and they don't fit in at school. And this is a way to understand their pain that they're really feeling. They're in pain, but they decide that their problem is that they're supposed to be a boy and the fix is testosterone.
You're a good boy.
You heard of this problem. You knew of people that their children were going through this. And how long did it take you before you decided to commit to pen to paper on this?
So I spent maybe a month or so just hearing the reports of the parents and reading the original study. There's an original study that the book is, jumps off from, which is the Lisa Littman paper at Brown University. She's a public health researcher who looked into this. And she found that there was all of a sudden this huge epidemic in America of teenage girls deciding they were trans with their friends after social media emerging and pushing for hormones and surgeries.
An epidemic? That's a pretty strong word, right? That's strong language. That means that is happening a lot. This is not good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
No, iDubbbz, it's not.
Conversation about this with someone who's a trans activist that says, well, maybe what's really going on, I mean, I'm just taking the argument of it. Maybe what's going on is there are a lot of trans women, and there would be more, or there's a lot of women who would turn trans, become a man. There would be more, but they never had that door open to them before, and that maybe there's more trans people than we think.
Amazing. So it's a great point, and I thought about it because I tried to look. I'm a journalist. I like to look at ideas in both sides. I did not have a dog in this race. So let me tell you 3 reasons.
She doesn't have a dog?
I don't think that's compelling. Number one, when Lisa Littman looked at the prevalence rate, she found that it's 70 times what we would expect within a friend group, which means it's highly concentrated in groups of friends. But there's 2 other reasons. So we wouldn't expect that if it were randomly distributed among the population. But there are 2 other reasons I don't think that's right. Number one, if we're just reverting to normal now that there's greater societal acceptance, right? We're just reverting to a normal base rate of transgender women. Why are all the women in their 40s and 60s coming out as trans? They should be coming out. Now's their time. Now's their moment. We should see tons of women in their 40s and 60s and so on coming out as transgender.
That's a good point.
We're not seeing that. We're seeing the same population that gets involved in cutting, demonic possession, witchcraft, anorexia, bulimia, and convinces themselves there's a problem.
That's a good point because,
yeah, it's a super great point.
I've also heard a lot of gay men, older gay men, like in their 50s and 60s, that they just don't understand what the fuck is going on anymore. Like, they just checked out. They've gone off the reservation, man. Like, even traditional gays and lesbians don't understand what the hell the trans movement is anymore. And I think she's pretty much on point there.
And there's one anyway. There's one last reason, is that suicide rates are going up. But if these women who were living under a prior, supposedly these real transgender people who were living under a more repressive regime and are now just finding themselves, you would think the suicide rate would be going down.
Right. And it's usually suicide rates among trans people that are going up. Let me look up the statistics right here. Suicide in trans community. Now I'm gonna get opposition saying, "Oh, but they're not accepted." Bullshit. They are accepted. So study shows that prevalence of suicide throughout and attempts among transgender adults is significantly higher than that of the U.S. Wait, what?
General population.
Using the data from 2015 U.S. Transgender Survey, this report examines the key factors associated with suicidality. I didn't even know that was a word. That sounds like a Mortal Kombat move.
Uh-huh.
Suicidality among the transgender people. So 98% of respondents who have been experienced with 4 instances of discrimination and violence in the past year thought about suicide that year. 51% of them attempted suicide that year. 13% of recipients who had denied equal treatment because they are transgender reported suicide attempts in the past year of 13%. 6% of those who hadn't experienced such treatment reported in the past year. So even people who haven't, I don't even know how they report this stuff. 11% of recipients who had been rejected from their families reported past suicide attempts. 5% of those who had not experienced rejection reported the attempts in the past year. 30% of recipients who were physically attacked in the public place reported attempting suicide in the past year. 7% of those didn't get attacked. And 9% of those who wanted but did not receive gender-affirmed care, which means surgery, reported in the past year suicide attempts. And 5% of those who wanted to receive 5% of those who wanted and received gender-affirmed care reported attempts in the past year. So out of the whole trans community, 5% of them who have gotten the surgery are still committing suicide. I think 5% is pretty substantial. Yeah, those are the numbers.
With greater acceptance.
So when you're saying suicide rates are going up, you mean suicide rates with teens who turn trans?
Both. That's the rate of suicide among this population, first of all, among girls in general, is extraordinarily high.
That's true. Suicide among kids are going up. Let me show you the statistics on that. Suicide kids. Oh God, that's gonna be like a heavy metal band. So kids and suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of deaths for ages 10 to 24 in the United States. Jesus. Second leading cause of death. We're not talking about cancer. We're not talking about COVID. We're not talking about fucking malaria or any disease. No, we're talking about second leading cause from 10 to 24 is suicide. Jesus Christ. Many suicidal children and adolescents have depression alone or in conjunction with another mental illness like anxiety disorder, attention deficit disorder, bipolar disorder, or child onset schizophrenia. Let's see. Do we have the numbers? Let's get the numbers, bro. Stats. Give me the stats, bro. Yeah. So, fuck. There's a lot. There's a lot here. So 1 in 100,000 children ages 10 to 14 die by suicide each year. There's 300. How many children are there in America? Probably a lot. That's a high number. 7 in 100,000 youth ages 15 to 19 die of suicide each year. 12.7% of 100,000 young adults ages 20 to 24 die of suicide each year. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death for adults 18 to 65. Oh, these are not good stats, man. Okay, so 41% of trans adults say they have attempted suicide in this study. The same study found that 61% of trans people who were victims of physical assault had attempted suicide. What about girls? Is there a girl study? Genders. Okay, so female experience depression at roughly 2 times the rate of men. Female attempted suicide is 3 times as often as males. Poisoning is the most common method of suicide for females. Yeah, because they're pussies. No, but yeah, dude, the numbers are there. Girls are killing themselves more than guys.
This is just one part of the mental health crisis they're in. And second of all, we know that the rate that these kids, these trans-identified kids, have very high rates of suicide, suicidal ideation. It's really, an area of real concern.
Well, there's definitely an area of real concern as well with social media. Did you read Jonathan Haidt's book, The Coddling of the American Mind?
Yeah, and it was on your show that I really, this light bulb went on when I rewatched it, because he talked about exactly this. He connects it to social media, and he talked about on your show the huge rates we're seeing in anxiety, depression, all among these same girls. And, putting it together with Lisa Littman's research and the other investigation I've done, I think it's really pretty clear that one more manifestation of these girls who we know are involved in a lot of cutting and all kinds of self-harm, this is one form of self-harm for them.
So there are so let's essentially say...
She's equating being trans as a child as self-harm. That's a pretty bold statement.
There's young teenagers that are confused and they're looking for something that makes them feel whole or something that makes them feel normal or something that gives them some sort of an escape from this angst that they suffer from. And you're thinking that turning trans is one of those pathways that they gravitate towards, but it might not necessarily be a good idea for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If these girls were transitioning to boys and they were living great lives and their mental health was great, like it is for so many transgender adults, I wouldn't have written this book. That's a great story.
But is it great for so many transgender adults? Because even in transgender adults, the suicide rate's very high.
There's no question, and that's, that's a separate issue, but I do think that, I agree. I think that personally believe that there are transgender adults who've been helped by transition.
Sure.
But these girls are not being helped by transition.
Just universally?
I think as a population, I mean, that's what Lisa Littman's study showed, but also through my investigation, I interview a lot of parents. I also interview transgender youth, and they, they'll tell you their anxiety is a mess, their depression's a mess. Transition's not curing these girls. They drop out of school, they cut off their families. They're not living a great life.
It's such a strange call, right? And I mean strange. I don't mean strange in a negative way. I mean you're dealing with hormones in a human body. Like you're taking a woman and you're injecting hormones into her body, and you're saying that these exogenous hormones are what's going to fix her. And I never understand that. Like if this is my argument about this. Like, how do we know? How do you know that that's what's going to do it? And when you are doing that, what damage is being done? So it's one thing if someone's a 25-year-old woman and they say, "I have always wanted to be a man, and I think I'm a man. I think I'm born in the wrong body."
Caitlyn Jenner.
But when you're going through this developmental cycle from 17, 18, 19, 20. There is a lot of chaos.
Right.
There's a lot of hormonal chaos. There's a lot of confusion. I don't think there's anything specifically that you could point to that could say some sort of an intervention chemically, some sort of if you just step in now and start injecting this body with male hormones, this is going to fix all your problems. But
yeah. I don't think it's going to fix their problems. I'm on that camp. I'm on the camp that we should just leave them alone until they're 18. And I feel like this push to normalize it amongst kids is very dangerous. I'm very strong on that. So like there's this new push to put transgender boys in female sports. And basically what's going to happen is, in sports, you pick the best players for the team. Right, and by nature, men are better at sports than women. Sorry, women out there. If you get the best Olympic runner in the world, and you put him next to the best Olympic runner who's a female, so a male and a female, right? They're both Olympic runners. The male's gonna win. There's no doubt about that. If you put a guy in a ring, a UFC ring, the best fighter who's a guy, and you put the same best fighter in the girls division in the ring together, the guy is going to beat that girl senseless.
Yeah.
And so what's going on when you're putting transgender boys in these sports with girls is that you're essentially eliminating girls from the sport. Because you're just going to pick the transgender guys because they're just naturally better. Unless their hormones, make them not be as good as the girls, but that's up for debate at that point. Basically, this is the first thing Biden signed into office. His first executive order was to put transgender boys in girls' sports. And if that's his main priority coming into the fucking administration, I don't want to see what the hell he has planned for us for the next 4 years. And I didn't want to get into politics at all on this, but I mean, by nature, this conversation is political. But like, the left is really going hard on this stuff, and the right is like not accepting it at all. And I think we need to find some sort of middle ground to address this situation. We need to say, hey, you transgender boys, you get your own division, okay? The trans division, okay? Okay? We need 4 bathrooms. We need 1 for boys, 1 for girls, 1 for trans boys, and 1 for trans girls, okay? Like, we need to accommodate these people in society because they're here, and like, there's nothing we could do about it. So instead of trying to force feed us this, why don't we come to some sort of middle ground, is my point. And definitely try to have a debate on whether or not giving hormones to children is acceptable. I might not be the expert on it. I'm sure Joe Rogan isn't the expert on it, but we should get some, brilliant minds to really discuss this and do studies and see and not be scared by the statistics and not be silenced and not be censored and actually find the truth on why these girls are committing suicide who transition. That's basically my point. And I'm glad you're here for this. I knew you would, chime in every now and then, and I really appreciate your, your viewpoint from this. I think we're pretty much on the same page here.
Yeah, man. I mean, we see eye to eye on very, very many things. This is one of them.
And like in the next 5 years, I'm planning on having kids. So like,
yeah. So
this is going to be a topic of debate in the house.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna raise your kids like you're gonna raise them like solid, like to have solidarity with themselves, to where they need, because I know from what I can tell, you're gonna teach them like just to be okay with yourself, like learning, like just.
If they want to dress as a girl, I'm not gonna be opposed from that, right? If they want to transition and cut their penis off or their tits off, that's where I draw the line. Because
so you're more of the laissez-faire sort of parenting, where you just let them learn on their own, like.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be responsible for their transition, right? So I'm not gonna allow them to actually take hormone blockers. I'm not gonna allow them to transition until they're 18 and fully matured. But if they want to dress as a girl, that's their prerogative, right? I can't tell my kid how to dress, right? Like,
I mean,
that's a little too strict in my opinion.
I mean, but you're gonna be buying his clothes. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, like, if he likes Sailor Moon, there's nothing I could do about that. Like, he likes Sailor Moon. Like, if he likes Barbies, that he likes Barbies. Like, it's okay. Like.
Who's gonna be the one buying him Barbies?
I'll buy him fucking Barbies. I don't care. Like, the thing is, if you let them go through this journey, but you don't incentivize transitioning with pills and like the actual surgery, but you let them go through this journey, they're gonna figure it out on their own.
I mean,
if he wants to, like, I used to play with Barbies when I was a kid. Like, I used. Let's see.
My parents didn't let me.
I used to mess around with like makeup and stuff, just because I thought it was fun, it was just fun, and like, I'm not gonna rob that from my kid. I'm not gonna be like, no, you can't fucking do this, because like that would create him just like being the opposite of what I'm saying, right? When you're always strict on your kid, like a good example is a really religious household on the child, right? If you're constantly telling him, hey, you need to go to church, you need to believe in God, you need to believe in the Bible, this is the thing that you need to fucking do, usually 9 times out of 10, those kids become atheists by the time they leave your household. And so if you guide them through this journey and you walk with them, right, but you don't make irreversible changes with them, you don't make irreversible changes for them, then I think that's the happy medium you should follow as a parent. Because the last thing I want is for me to be a really strict parent and then for them to inevitably hate me and then just do the opposite of what I'm saying. Because that's my experience with my parents. Like, I didn't like my parents growing up. I did everything completely opposite from them, and you know, maybe I should have listened to them a few times when I didn't. And that's what I'm trying to avoid with my children. So if they want to play with Barbies, if they want to fucking get a unicorn shirt, by all means. I feel like they're gonna grow out of it, right? And if they don't, well, then they're gay. What do you want me to do? They're gay. Like, it's just a gay kid. Like, I'm not going to love him any less because he's a gay kid. I'm just not going to help him transition, you know? That's going to be his decision once he leaves the bird's nest. We have to realize, my kid could come out gay, or my daughter could come out a lesbian.
I wouldn't want that to happen to my kids.
Well, I mean, you just gotta, realize that there are these people out there, and it's like a roll of the dice when you have kids. Like when you have kids, you don't know if he's gonna come out autistic, retarded, schizophrenic, gay, straight. I
was just about to say that. Like, yeah, there's like a lot of other things that they could come out as.
Right, like if my kid came out as gay and he had perfect health and like no mental problems, I'd be like, all right, well, I mean, I can't really complain too much. As opposed to having like a brain dead, retarded kid who like I have to care for constantly, like that would be the absolute worst, in my opinion.
All right, well, I mean, all right, well, I'm gonna have like 10 kids then, just so like, if at least.
The laws of probability are in your favor.
Yeah, the probability's in my favor. I will at least continue my freaking bloodline.
Exactly. And like if your first kid comes out gay, well, that just means you need to have another one.
Yep. The first dice roll was bad. Yeah, that's.
Oh, so that's why you don't want your kids to be gay, because you want your bloodline to continue. That makes sense, and that's a big problem in the gay community. Like it's, I see that it's pretty selfish.
I've had this question for gay people that think that it's genetic, and maybe you can help me answer. I'm not sure if you see it as genetic or not, but
what, like it comes from your parents?
Yeah, that it's like some gene.
Some gay gene?
Yeah. Do you like believe in that, or do you think it's?
All right.
Not?
All right. We're getting into muddy waters here. So. I think gay is a product of our society.
Yep.
But at the same time, well, let me rephrase that. I think gay is a real thing, but it's exacerbated by our society. So your kid could be born gay, right? Because there's like animals in the animal kingdom that are gay. Like there's lions that'll fuck other dude lions. And like that's their thing.
But born gay how? Like from what?
Like they're just never attracted to females, Like it's just not in them to be attracted to females. Like they just don't like females like that. They like females more as friends. They don't like them,
But is it from genetics, or is it from something that they had growing up
I think it's both. I think like I said, you could be born with it, and then you don't really know what it is, but then you see something on TV that confirms what you are.
All right, so you think at least part of it you can be born with, right?
Yeah.
So, and would you say it's a gene?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Because my question was, to the people that think that you're born gay, is if it was a gay gene, right, or something that is passed on, then it would eventually die out in some form, because gay people cannot have children to pass it on to. So if two gay men they adopt, so they wouldn't be able to pass it on for the most part. Yeah.
Unless they do auto what's it called? Auto insemination, I think it's called, where they have a donor lady have the baby for them, and they just give them their sperm.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like
the majority.
Yeah, the like majority, that option wasn't available in the past. Yeah, somehow it just keeps popping up. I don't think it's a gene because of that. because it would have died out. So I mean, I think it's more of a societal something that people experience from yeah, just a number of things.
I don't know. I like to think about it more like you're just rolling the dice, you know, and you never know what you're gonna get with your kid.
Okay,
Because
so
by that standard, like, again, like, is retarded a gene? Like, is mental illness a gene? Like, is schizophrenia a gene? You know? I think those things are just your brain's not firing in the right ways, you know? Like, the norm is to have a monogamous straight, well, not monogamous actually. No. It's just the norm is to pass on your genes or to pass on your seed to have kids. That's the norm, right?
Yeah.
You're put on this planet to have kids. Now, you have a gay kid, well, that's just like a misfiring of the brain, right? Same thing with like schizophrenia and all this stuff. It's just like your brain's not functioning properly. Because the instinct for a man is to pass on his genetic traits to by having sex with a woman and having a kid. Like, that's what we're put on. That's our genetic makeup is made up like that. That's how we survive as a human race, right?
Yep.
But it could just be that gay people are just like, you know, not normal, you know, and that's okay. You know, it's like autistic people. Like, is autism a gene? I don't think so. I think it just happens, or through vaccines. No, I'm just kidding. Get wrecked.
You spoiled the topic of our next video.
Combo breaker!
That's our next episode. Is autism caused by vaccines?
Vaccines. Should you get them?
Oh, dude, we're gonna touch on COVID. There's a lot to talk about COVID.
Yeah. For sure.
But dude, it's been so nice talking to you. I'm gonna upload this video. I'm gonna edit some stuff, but it's gonna be up soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you stop recording it?
I'm gonna stop now.
Okay.